Hope you're ready to get rid of this little guy. Okay, so we're going to be talking a little bit about this little guy right here. Now this is the initial spinner you'll get with your Asteroids, your 6-in-1 Asteroids Deluxe, or the 12-in-1. And basically, I mean, this part's okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. It's light, but it's a nice little design. But you can see even when sitting on the actual hardware, it's not on there very well. And one of the mods people have done is simply put electrical tape on here to make this a little more firm. And you can hear it's not a true spinner. It's really a multiple selector switch. You can hear each click. So this is that little board down here. So what we're going to be doing in this video is showing you the second prototype of a complete replacement of this and this. So let's take a look. Okay, here is my Asteroids unit, and the Asteroids and the 6-in-1 are basically the same cabinet. They just have a spinner and the control panel on here. And you can see this is the first prototype of the spinner. And you can see right here how well it works. It's got a really good continuous spinning well after you're done moving it. So when you go into Tempest, obviously we're going to go in here, start the game, put a coin in, and start her up. You can see we get really good rotation on this unit here. It's got a good weight to it, and it's all metal. It's a huge, huge improvement over the one that came with the original Arcade1UP. Again, the one that came with Arcade1UP, you know, it didn't work well out of the box at all. I mean, it was actually pretty bad, but you can make it usable. But you will never get this kind of feel out of that one there. So again, this is just the first prototype unit that we had gotten. Okay, so here I'm now at my 12-in-1 unit. Now the 12-in-1 is a little bit different than the normal Asteroids and the Asteroids Deluxe 6-in-1. On those two units, you only have the interface buttons and a spinner. And right now, this spinner is all set to go in those type of cabinets because it's basically a direct replacement. You're going to pull out your spinner, disconnect the cable, put this in its place, and you're all set to go. The 12-in-1 is a little bit different. The spinner doesn't go directly into their interface board. It first goes into the trackball, then the trackball goes into the interface board. Because of that, the way this is designed, that's not going to work. So the hardware manufacturer making this is making an interface board which will take the spinner and the trackball into its own board. Then from that board, it'll go into the Arcade1UP board to work. Now, there's a couple reasons going that route. The first is the manufacturer really wants to make this a completely solderless solution. Here's one people have to take out a soldering iron or worry about cutting cables or doing anything like that. It's trying to make it as simple as possible. The other is that the board will allow you to use this, say, in a PC via USB or in Raspberry Pi via USB. So if you do change out this machine to something else, you'll have a spinner and potentially a trackball that'll work in both those units as well. Now, unfortunately, due to some issues with manufacturing, that board's not going to be available this month. However, you can still get the spinner. You simply have to disconnect the trackball and plug the spinner in its place to get it to work. But if you really want to play Tempest really badly, you can buy this now, and then when the interface board is available, you can simply add that. It's not like you're losing anything in the process. Another thing that this version has that the version 1 doesn't have are some dip switch settings, which will let you change the pulses coming from here into the machine. Now, why do you need that? Well, for Tempest you don't, because when it comes from the manufacturer, it's going to be set up to run perfectly with Tempest. But there's also, if you hack your 12-in-1, there's a copy of Breakout on there. So these dip switch settings will let you change the pulses from the 8 to 16 pulses it would do for Tempest, all the way up to 1,024 pulses. Just trying to find out which one will work best for the Breakout. And I think I have right here what settings we have set for. Let me take a quick look here because I don't have a great memory. But the pulses are adjustable from 10 to 24 pulses, 16 pulses, 32 pulses, 64 pulses, 128 pulses, 256 pulses, 512 pulses, again up to 1,024 pulses. So you'll have some adjustability to make this play as you like. Now in the Arcade1UP systems, you want to leave it at the low end default because it doesn't seem to take too many revolutions before it gets overloaded and doesn't accept it. But if you're using it on a PC and Raspberry Pi, you might have more ability in there. But let's just take a quick look at how this plays now in this particular unit. Right now my trackball is disconnected. I am going from my spinner directly into the Arcade1UP board. But we're going to play it here. We'll start a game up. You can see we have good rotation on it. It's got a nice weight. So if you're wanting to play Tempest, this is definitely a much better way to play it. So that's working pretty well. Now what I'm going to try doing is adjusting the dip switch settings on this and try the breakout game that's built into this if you hack it with the USB hack. Now, right now the dip switches are mounted directly on the spinner, which means you have to take your control panel off to make those adjustments. I made a suggestion to the manufacturer to have a cable coming off the back so you can maybe on the back of a unit or on the side access those settings so you can make adjustments without having to open up the unit. Also, when making those changes, it's recommended the machine be off to make them. So I'll be right back after I make some changes to this and get into the breakout game. Okay, so right now I have it set up to 1024 pulses on this. So it's the highest end it can go into. Here is the super breakout game that's built in. Again, you can access this with the USB hack if you want to do that. There's a video down below to show you how to do that on my channel. But I'm going to press this little button here, and we can see right now it's set to 1024, which might be a little bit too high, but you can see how well that is right here. I'm barely moving the spinner at all. So I'm going to probably try maybe 512 after this. But right now it's set to the highest setting. Let's see how it goes. Oop. Man, it's so loud too. My God, I need to have a volume adjustment on this thing. The volume is set to medium right now. Okay, well, it's definitely much better than it was with the stock spinner, which you got to pretty much keep turning it to get it to move a little bit. So it's set a little too high right now. I'm going to make a little adjustment to this. I'm going to turn it down to 512, and let's see how that plays. Okay, I didn't set it to 512. I actually set it to 256. Because I did think the 1000 was way too much, so I thought maybe 512 might be too much as well. So let's see how this works with 256 pulses. So, and again, the volume here is on the medium. I'm sorry it's so loud. It's real loud to me. So I'm going to put some coins in here. And, well, that seems a little bit better. It might even go a little bit lower, but right now this is set at 256. But let's see how it plays. It's definitely a lot better. You know, this might actually be the right setting for it. Again, I haven't played Breakout with a real controller in forever, but definitely 256 seems like it's pretty good. You don't have to have a lot of hand movement to get the paddle to go. It's really not bad. Try one more. Give me my bowl. Still bad eye-hand coordination. I'm going to try one lower setting from 256 and see how that goes. This really wasn't bad though. I mean, I maybe have, I don't know, a very small degree of turn to go from one side to the other. Let's see, if I put my hand right here, I would say maybe it's like almost 10 degrees. I'm not quite sure. But I'm going to try a slightly lower setting. That actually feels like it might be right, but I am going to try one lower setting. Okay, well, I did it again. I didn't use the 128, which would have been the next step down. I actually went down to 64 pulses. And let's see how it plays. I put a coin in, and let's start her up. And all right, this is at 64 pulses. You can see I'm getting quite a bit more movement here. I'm going to put it right here and put it at 3 o'clock, and let's see how it goes. I would say probably almost at 11 o'clock. So, not too shabby. Let's see how it plays. Ooh, I'm just getting old. So I think anywhere between 64 and 256 pulses is probably good for this game. And that's what's really good about this new prototype, that you have the option to adjust it. And again, it's also adjustable a little bit inside MAME as well. But I think it's nice to have the ability to do it here on the actual unit and change its resolution here. I think a new mod will be changing the volume on these suckers. Woo, it's loud. And I definitely would not have gotten this far with the stock spinner, that's for sure. Oh, can I get a ball up there at all today? Oh, that's bad eye-hand coordination. Well, that's it. So we can see the spinner is working pretty well here. Now, this is too many pulses. I'm going to put Tempest on just to show you. Even at 64 pulses, it's going to be way too many for Tempest. So I got my keyboard here. I'm going to go back to my menu. I'm going to select a new game. And I'm going to select Tempest here. And I'll put a coin in. And start it up. You can see it gets confused. It doesn't know what to do with that many pulses going through. Which is the problem with the Ultramark. The Ultramark has a very high resolution, and touching it, you can see it doesn't really know what to do with that many pulses. So I think if they can get the dip switch settings from underneath here on a wire that you can connect elsewhere on the unit, will be a really nice touch. So with that all being said, again, the spinner right now is all set to go for the for the normal asteroids and the 6-in-1. So this month it will be put up for order, and he's going to make about 100 of them initially to fill the initial orders. He is still working on the additional board, which will make it work a lot better in here, so you have to keep disconnecting your trackball to put the spinner in. But I want you to know things are progressing, but sometimes you're building something from scratch without working with the manufacturer directly. There's a learning curve. So I did want to say that yes, this is coming. Keep an eye out for it on my channel and on the official Arcade1UP fan page for the release date, because initially there will only be 100 released. But don't worry, more will be coming after that. This is just the initial batch. So I do thank you all for watching, and remember everyone, as best you can, game on.
at the Tiny Arcade fan page. Remember, don't admire people too much. They'll disappoint you.
Sit, Blue Blue, sit. Good dog.